Hi guys, so this is going to be, I know, a very strange setup video for YouTube. It's going in a TikTok direction, but I just had to do this really quickly because it's been on my heart that I never came back and did any explanation on where my videos went. And I know a lot of you invested your time into watching my channel and supporting it. And I just felt really bad because all of a sudden I was like, yeah, I'm back and I'm going to be doing budgeting kits all of 2025. And then it was like radio silence. So I know I look terrible. I feel like, why do we always have to say that when we feel like that? But whatever, I don't have any makeup on or anything, but I just had to like mentally prepare myself to do this video because if I took too much time or was like, oh, let me go do my hair, let me go do my makeup, let me figure out like how to set up my camera again so it's proper for YouTube, I would have never done this video. So I guess the moral and the point of this story is that in January, I started to have a lot of things happen at once. And first and foremost, my mom started to get pretty sick. And as most of you know, I had talked about her living with us since January 2023. It was time for her to sell her condo. It was, perfect for her to move in with us. And then about a year later, or was it a year? No, not quite a year. Maybe about 8-9 months. We actually got into the house that we're in now. We sold our previous house, got into this house because this had a first floor bedroom and it was just better equipped for her. This has more bathrooms, it was just a good fit. So everything was going swimmingly and, she was doing really well with us. And unfortunately, like life and age and everything just caught up with her and, she just needed more care. So as some of you may know from a long time ago, me doing my budgeting in the very beginning, my nephew has always been a godsend. And he was so anxious to change jobs. And I was like, you know what? If you don't have another job lined up, like, come take care of your grandma. Like, do like an 8 to 4 type deal. 9 to 4, because my husband left for work later. So he was in agreement and we knew it would be temporary. You don't know for how long or whatever. And but he agreed to take a break and to do that. And he did that for a while. But then it became more apparent that I wasn't really able to leave my mom home by herself for very long. And I have to say that my mom was the most independent, fun-loving, best family person, best grandma, best mother, best everything, and super independent her entire life. And up until she was 86, she was still like driving to the lake with her friends. Her friends had a lake house and they would always go up there like every week in the summer. And so it was about 86 years old. She quit driving just because it was just too much. And we were here to help her with everything. So in January, everybody got sick in my house. My nephew got sick. My husband got sick. My nephew wasn't living with us, but he would drive, every day and show up. And my mom got sick. So we all got the type A flu and it was horrid. And so it took me forever to recover. In fact, my mom recovered and then she had like a setback because she had some mild COPD, that was well controlled, except if she would get sick, if she would get a respiratory infection, it just exacerbated it. And the same with me, like my asthma is controlled until I get a virus and then it instantly goes to my lungs. So I got sick, my mom got sick, she kind of got better and then she kind of relapsed because like the infection just wasn't clearing up for her and it wasn't clearing up for me either. And I ended up being on 5 weeks of prednisone. It was the worst struggle ever physically for me. I took some FMLA at work. I was so down and I was taking everyday breathing treatments. I was taking Advil cold and sinus, which is terrible for you if you have an irregular heartbeat, which I do ever since the first time I had COVID. And I was doing like everything wrong because I didn't want to go to the hospital. And I was like, if I go to the hospital, I know they're going to keep me for a couple days. I don't want to do this. I can't do this. Like, I have to be at home, you know. It was just like a whole thing. So it just took me forever to get better. So I got better. My mom got better. And then we all ended up with another virus. This was like late February. And at that point, I realized that my mom needed more external care outside the house. So basically like assisted living. And from there, everything just kind of went downhill. And I was trying to visit her every single day. And at this point, you know, my mom, she turned 88 in June. But it was just a lot of back and forth. She was in rehab. She got double pneumonia. She beat it. I mean, she is the strongest person, and she just got weaker and weaker. So I was just spending all my time going to visit her, and at the same time, I was also enrolled in school. I started an MBA program in January. Because last December I started seeing a counselor because it's hard, you know, to juggle a lot and with stress and everything. And he was like, you need to do something just for you. And it can't be something that you can easily back out of. You need to be accountable. And like, yeah, taking classes would be a good thing because then you have firm deadlines and you can't just say, oh, I'm not going to do it this week because I'm too busy or I'm too tired. Like, you make a commitment. So I made a commitment. So I'm in this MBA program. I'm just taking one class every 7 weeks. It's an accelerated program. And at the same time, I'm trying to caretake for my mom. I'm trying to visit her every day. I'm trying to advocate for her at the doctors. Some facilities, you know, they don't want you to have an outside doctor. They want you to use a house doctor, a specialist, you know, figure out medications, all this stuff. And I would gladly do it again. I would do it all over again. But, you know, and I have a lot of regrets about this decisions I made as a caregiver. But on July 29th, my mom passed away. And I think that, you know, you can look at it like 88 years old. Wow, that's, you know, a long life, a life well lived. But even so, I don't think you're ever really ready to lose your mom. So I don't think that anything could have prepared me. She could have been 188 and I probably still would have been struggling. But my mom and I, and some of you may have picked up on this, you know, the way I would talk in my videos and stuff, we just had an exceptional relationship, and she was an exceptional person and human being and a daughter. You know, she was an exceptional wife, aunt, grandma, friend, colleague, everything. And if I can be half the person that she is, I will consider my life to be successful. So anyway, what is my point of making this video besides just being depressing? I've decided that I really miss YouTube, but I don't know if I miss doing a budgeting channel. Everything has changed for us. My husband's sales commissions have changed. Our, you know, excitement at being able to pay down a house and, you know, making all these extra payments, that has changed. There's just a lot about budgeting that I just don't enjoy anymore. And I enjoyed it before. You know, I was like, you know, looking for ways to be creative and save and you know, try to make our budget perfect because we had been through, you know, credit card and loan debt so many times. And I started this channel with a huge debt. If you go back and look, it was like $36,000 in credit cards, student loans, and a home improvement loan. And we got ourselves out of that. And I thought that was a really good series for me to concentrate on because I was making progress. I had goals. And then I reached them, and then I was doing these videos, you know, every week. And for me, it became boring because it was like the same, you know, and I felt like I was going through the motions and I really wasn't getting much out of it. I'm sure you guys weren't getting anything out of it either. I wasn't teaching you anything new. I wasn't reinventing any wheels. everybody's familiar with the Dave Ramsey snowball system, envelopes, you know, all this stuff. And while other people can make it exciting and other people have the talent to, you know, constantly make those videos and make them super entertaining to watch, I just don't feel like I have that ability. And so I just became very withdrawn, and I lost my hobbies and my will to do things because my whole focus was, please, like, let my mom get better. But anyways, uh, that being said, I miss YouTube a lot. I don't know that YouTube misses me. I think that as a creator and somebody who has a channel, if you do too, you know the drill. You know that after a certain amount of time, if you are not being extremely consistent and innovative and exciting and dynamic, your channel suffers. That to me is depressing. Like, I see people with TikTok channels, and I don't watch TikTok anymore, to be honest. I feel like it was shortening my attention span, and I was just like almost giving myself an ADD, like I need the next thing, like 30 seconds, 1 minute, you know what I mean? I just didn't want to watch a full-length movie. I didn't want to watch a series. I wanted instant videos constantly. So around the time that there was like that 2-day ban or whatever, I just never went back to it because I don't think it was healthy for me. And also, like, you know, your For You page is your interest, but then there would be this depressing trend video that pops up, and it was just too much for me. I could not handle anything depressing. Like, I felt like I was already overwhelmed with feeling emotional. So I don't think I'm going to go back to TikTok, even though I think that that is the fastest way to grow something, you know, something new, something, and grow it organically. But my heart is telling me that I need to do more vlogging and journaling. And that's kind of where I'm at because, you know, in a very short amount of time, I have rediscovered things that I enjoy, such as reading, watching good movies. I have been keeping a media journal since 2005, and I'd love to share that with you guys. I think I even talked about that before. Maybe I even did a little bit of a flip through, but I am reworking that into a different notebook. And I'm just into journaling and, you know, doing things that are more like planning centered and, you know, the OG YouTube stuff. And so, you know, I would love to do a what's in my work bag. I don't know. That's just kind of like where I'm gravitating. So I'm not sure if I am going to convert this channel, but I almost think that's a bad idea because I've been gone long enough that YouTube might say, we're not going to push you in anything. Like, we're not going to promote you because you're not consistent and you're flipping up your content. Like, and I think a lot of you are here for the budgeting. I don't think that you're necessarily here for me, even though I don't mean that to sound insensitive or strange in any way, but you were here because you're interested in budgeting content. Me too. I love budgeting content. I do. But I have a ton of other things that I enjoy, and I think that I go in phases in my life. And I think right now I'm in my non-budgeting era, even though I am keeping a budget and I'm doing that, you know, for my purposes and everything. I have just kind of given up the complicated systems that I was using for savings and, you know, planning and goals and things like that, and all the binders and the cash. It was like too much for me. And maybe one day I'll go back to it. Maybe one day I'll be like, oh, you know, I'm ready. I want to start this up again. I don't know. I don't know. You know, I have found that we can make plans and we can have the best intentions, and those plans may not work out, or that might not be our path, but we still have to push forward. We have to do something, and we have to do things that we enjoy. So right now I am trying to decide how I want to move forward with my new channel or my new path. And, you know, will I be doing printable giveaways again? I think so. Because I enjoy making those and I miss doing that. And I haven't done that since January. But, you know, I'll also get into that, but it might not just be like a budgeting kit. It might be, you know, here's a monthly kit, or here's, you know, a kit to focus on, you know, a book reading kit, you know, book club kit, or whatever book you're reading. You know, here's something like a companion type thing where you can write down your notes in it or whatever. I don't know. I have a lot of ideas, and I'm inspired by a lot of things, but I don't know. I don't know where it's going to take me, but I know this was a long video. If you're still here, I appreciate you so much listening to the full explanation and my reasoning behind things and what's been going on with me. And of course, I hope that you want to stick around. If I do make a whole new clean start channel, I will probably do a video here pointing you in that direction if you're interested. But if I decide to convert this channel, I totally understand if this isn't for you. I get it. I totally get it. Again, my interests change all the time too. It's just human. So, you know, if you're not into it, into the new content, I am not offended. I want you to find the million channels out here that make you happy and that make you feel like you're getting some kind of comfort and satisfaction from the way you're spending your time consuming content here on YouTube. I totally get it. But thank you so much to those of you who have reached out to me personally over the past 6, 7, 8 months. I mean, it's been a while, but I just didn't feel like it was fair to leave you hanging forever. And I also thought that I was mentally prepared to finally do this video. So I hope you're all doing well, of course. And, you know, like I always say, I hope I see you guys in my next video.